WWL-TV, Channel 4, New Orleans. Lynn Cannon, Mike Hoss, and meteorologist Carl Arredondo. This is Louisiana's news leader, Channel 4's Eyewitness News Nightwatch.
Was it an explosion or just engine trouble? At least a dozen people die after an Israeli cargo jet blows up after takeoff. President Bush takes his campaign to the talk show circuit by the way of the Larry King Show. And Saints fans have something to cheer about when the team returns from Detroit. Good evening, everyone. It's being called the worst ever air disaster in the Netherlands. An Israeli cargo jet exploded just after takeoff, then slammed into two apartment buildings in Amsterdam tonight. The crash touched off a firestorm in a suburban area where family and friends are frantically searching for loved ones.
So immediately we rushed to the main door, and there was a fire. Immediately there was a fire. We were about to get out from the entrance.
What about the rest of your family?
The rest of I saw only my wife and my first boy. The two of the boys, I can't find them.
At least 12 bodies have been recovered, but as many as 200 people are feared dead. Authorities now blame the crash on engine trouble. Well, just when you made it through one election yesterday, it's time for another big one. In less than a month, voters will pick the next president. Elizabeth Renshaw looks ahead at where the election is going and what the latest polls say about the candidates' standings.
A CNN USA Today poll shows Clinton with a comfortable lead of 47%. That's 12 points over Bush, with Perot garnering support from 10%. Yet the tracking poll through last week shows Clinton's lead dropping 5%, a sign that the Perot factor may be kicking in. But Perot already has been making a profound difference in this campaign, particularly in the way candidates use the media. Perot started a new trend. He bypassed reporters and took his message directly to the public by appearing on shows such as Larry King Live. The other two quickly caught on.
This is a very, very special day for us. We have presidential hopeful Governor Bill Clinton, and thank you for taking time out of an incredible schedule.
Clinton hit the talk show circuit. He even tried to show that human side by jamming on late-night television. And tonight, even President Bush hit prime time. He wasn't exactly live with Larry King. He agreed only to be taped, but the president said he'll soon face callers.
I look forward to coming on your show and answering any questions they can throw. Curveballs, straight balls, fastballs.
So why are the candidates sidestepping reporters and hitting infotainment shows? Analysts say, in a word, they're out for control. They don't want their message reduced to 10-second sound bites, as even Bush admitted tonight in lambasting the press for its coverage of the economy.
When 92% of the news coverage, Larry, on this, what is this man Lichter's surveys have been negative on the economy, how else do people get the news? They get it from news programs, or they get it from print. And yes, things have been tough, but they haven't been that tough.
Political analysts predict this trend will continue, especially if the race tightens. Perot and Bush in particular need to do a lot of convincing, and if they can do it with 30 minutes of free airtime on television, well, Lynn, they probably will.
Yes, and of course, next week from tonight is the first debate in St. Louis.
Yes.
Should be interesting. Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, only one candidate in the Orleans Parish School Board race won their district outright. In a bit of an upset, CAROLYN Greenford beat incumbent Betty Jefferson, somewhat of a payback. 4 years ago, Jefferson beat Ford by less than 100 votes. Ford celebrated with other candidates who made it to the runoff. All of them were endorsed by excellence in education.
People were ready for a change, and I think that the people of the community welcomed me because they were familiar with my work and service to them in the last 20 years, and they knew what I stood for.
Incumbents Avra O'Dwyer and Woody Koppel were also defeated, but Gail Glapion and Paul Sins advanced to the runoff. Well, nearly 60% of the voters approved of a charter amendment limiting New Orleans to just one land-based casino. The final tally was 58% in favor, 42% against. This is not the end of the casino controversy, however. Those who do not want any casinos are preparing for a court battle. The Just One forces are still happy.
It may ultimately result in a court battle between the state and the city, but we know that we have the legal backing to do that. We know that we have an argument that we wouldn't have had if this Proposition B had not passed, an argument that will allow us to stress the fact that the citizens of New Orleans want the number of casinos limited to one.
In a closely watched race in Jefferson Parish, it was a victory for the school board, a loss for the sheriff. Mike Ross has more.
The voters' decision is a bitter disappointment for Sheriff Lee. He claims his department's crime-fighting ability will decline in the next few years because of the defeat of his tax proposal.
Well, I certainly don't think it's an anti-hire leave vote. I think it's an anti-tax vote.
Well, the real issue was whether or not the sheriff's plan was a good plan, and it was not a good plan because it was too expensive.
Evans, who opposed the sheriff's tax increase, says he will now ask the council to come up with its own plan to revamp the criminal justice system and build a new jail. Evans says some form of tax increase will be needed.
It depends on what the consensus is, not only on the council, but from the public.
Jefferson business groups who fought the sheriff's plan are taking a wait-and-see attitude.
If it's a comprehensive plan that'll solve the problem, the business community is going to support it. If it's one that's not well thought out, not comprehensive, and it's bloated money-wise, I don't think we will, no.
Even though voters here in Jefferson Parish said no to the sheriff, they did agree that the public school system here needs more money.
All right, you almost got it, A little bit more.
School officials say the victory for their half-cent sales tax hike should solve the system's financial problems for quite a while.
I'm naturally elated. I'm excited, thankful that the public had confidence enough in us to give us the additional funding so that we could keep moving this system forward.
But I hope the school board realizes that when you have an election and you cast 78,000 votes and you win by 1,600 votes, that's certainly not a mandate from your constituents that you're doing an outstanding job.
And although they won yesterday, Jefferson school officials are now worried about the November 3rd election. A proposal on that ballot would give the legislature the power to cut school aid by up to 10%. WOLFE says that could put the Jefferson schools right back in a money mess.
If they were to take, $10 to $14 million out of our budget next year, then the public is going to be asking themselves, we gave you additional money, what happened?
WOLFE says he'll fight the state funding cut proposal next month, and the council chairman says he wants to ask voters as soon as possible to consider a tax increase for a new jail. Jefferson voters still have a lot to consider. Mike Ross, Eyewitness News, Nightwatch.
The leader of Recall 92 vows to continue his drive to remove Governor Edwards from office even after running into trouble with the law.
To leave. I think it's my constitutional right to circulate the recall petition here, and I refuse to leave.
I'll be forced to call the police.
Please do so.
Baton Rouge police yesterday issued Ted Shermer a citation for trying to collect signatures within 600 feet of a polling place. Shermer says he violated the law because officials would not let him set up a petition table near voting precincts.
I believe that it's my constitutional right to circulate the recall petition within the 600 feet limit.
By the way, Shermer's group only has 300,000 of the 750,000 signatures needed for a recall vote. Still to come on Eyewitness News Nightwatch, New Orleans police investigate a murder. And later, celebrating Louisiana's Cajun heritage.
It's good news for homeowners looking for home products and services. Home Fest 92. Find the best prices on kitchen, baths, interior decorating, doors.